Last month we saw Remasters, the arrival of the fluffy action RPG Biomutant, which took our top spot for May. This month we have new chapters to experience fantasy adventures to explore, set in both the future and also in the past. This month is definitely not short on the action, as we have a well-known franchise taking a new perspective and a new IP with psionic powers throwing almost everything at you. Without further ado, let's get into the month of June 2021. Honourable mention: Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade and episode Intermission. This month's honourable mention goes to one of the most anticipated remakes that finally made its way to PS4 in April of last year. This time it's being released as an enhanced version called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, releasing only on PlayStation 5 with 4K support. The adventure is not over, as a new DLC called Episode Intermission adds an episode that features the Wutai ninja Yuffie Kisaragi. Together with Sonin, they will try to infiltrate the Shinra Electric Power Company to steal a rare materia away from the clutches of some powerful Shinra members. This episode not only adds a new storyline, but new limit breaks, enemies such as Nero, who's part of the elite unit in Shinra's military, and Scarlet, who has her very own mech complete with interchangeable weapons, sabers and Mako cannons. Episode Intermission also comes with a new minigame called Fort Condor, where players play a strategy game inspired by Shinra's military campaigns. Here, two players will deploy units to conquer each other's bases and defend their own in the process. You first need to select a board that will determine how many ATB charges you will have and the materia available. Intermission also comes with a new summon called Rama, who strikes down foes with thunderbolts. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade will not only add a new episode but also supports enhanced visuals in 4K in 60 FPS. Episode Intermission starring Yuffie will only be coming to PS5. Those who already own the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake will gain a free upgrade if they have a PS5 and will need to purchase the Episode Intermission separately. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Episode Intermission will release on PlayStation 5 on June 10th. At number 5, Legend of Mana Remaster. The HD remaster of The Legend of Mana will be releasing on a few platforms this month, upgrading the original 1999 action RPG. Set in the fantasy land of Fardiel, the story follows an unnamed hero whose quest is to restore the land. And of course it wouldn't be an Of Mana game without restoring the Tree of Mana. The remaster will take this journey, enhancing the experience for veterans and for newer players. Players will meet a colourful cast of characters to face off against some fearsome monsters and complete quests in Fardiel. Players can choose between the original soundtrack or experience the new version, but the soundtrack isn't the only addition. You can now turn off enemy encounters and enjoy a never before released in the West minigame called Ring Ring Land. Players will gain artifacts that can be placed on the map to bring the world to life through the land creation system. There are different ways to progress through the story based on the choices made, making each player's adventure a more personal and unique experience. Legend of Mana will release on Switch, PC and PS4 on June 24th. At number 4, Edge of Eternity. Edge of Eternity, which has been in early access since its debut in 2018, will be fully launching this June. The Final Fantasy-inspired turn-based RPG offers a beautiful fantasy world called Herion, which has been torn apart by the arrival of a mysterious alien force, ultimately leading to a cataclysm war. The narrative promises an engaging story with plot twists and gut-wrenching moments. Players can choose to solve quests in a number of ways, making difficult choices and facing up to the consequences. Gameplay is turn-based with strategy at its core, mixing tech with magic. Players can craft their own gear, flank enemies, and even use the environment around them to their advantage. The content includes numerous hours of gameplay, companions to unlock, dungeon boss fights, and over 40 skills to master. One of those companions also includes a giant floofy cat, so what's not to love? With Edge of Eternity leaving early access, it also means the story will finally gain its conclusion, adding 2 chapters of further gameplay compared to its current early access content. There is also music composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, who worked on Chrono Trigger and Xenoblade Chronicles. Edge of Eternity releases on PC on June 8th, with console versions releasing later in 2021. At number 3, Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood. The next chapter in the Elder Scrolls Online MMORPG heads into Oblivion territory with the next expansion, Blackwood. The story follows the schemes of the Daedric prince Mehrunes Dagon. This takes place 800 years before the events of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. 4 ambitions are scattered across Tamriel, and it's your next adventure to find them before anyone else does. Gathering them would mean possessing the power of Oblivion, meaning stopping those who might try to wield this terrible power. One of the exciting features coming with this chapter is the addition of companions, who will aid you on your next adventure. Companions will not only fight alongside you, but will get their own companion equipment such as armor and weapons. You can also pick the skills they use, ultimately deciding which role they will play. Essentially, you'll never have to adventure alone again, well, only if you don't want to. Blackwood will come with a new zone to explore, a main storyline following the Gates of Oblivion content, a new 12-player trial, new world events called Oblivion Portals, and much more. Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood will be releasing on June 1st for PC and on PlayStation and Xbox consoles on June 8th. At number 2, Scarlet Nexus. Brainpunk action RPG Scarlet Nexus will be releasing this June, stylishly combining an anime art style with psionic abilities. The story follows a dual narrative with two protagonists, Yueto Sumeragi and Kasane Randall, who both have psionic powers to fight off the others, enemies that take on bizarre forms and variations. Set in the distant future, the world has turned into a strange place as humanity fights off these deranged mutants that are hungry for human brains. Players will take up the role of joining the other suppression force, the last stand against the others, using psychokinetic abilities with your more traditional weapons in battle. Depending on who you choose, you can play the young recruit, Yueto, who is from a prestigious family eager to kick some mutant butt, while Kasane, the top graduate in her class, is a little more reserved. Each playthrough will take place at the same time, but will be through the eyes of these characters. Yueto and Kasane both utilize these strange powers, but Yueto is more focused on close combat and recovery, while Kasane is a mid-ranged attacker. Scarlet Nexus has fast-paced combat with RPG elements. While there will be shared experiences between Yueto and Kasane, players can experience the unique events of each character and cover more of the story of this dark future. Scarlet Nexus will release on June 25th on PC via Steam, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. At number 1, Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. It's time to take on the adventure of a lifetime into the Dungeons & Dragons universe of Dark Alliance. The action RPG reboot takes our top spot this month as it gives a new perspective on the franchise, straying away from the top-down isometric view, putting players straight into the action with over-the-shoulder point of view. Face vengeful dragons and frost giants through the Icewind Dale, together with 4 heroes who will brawl their way, fighting back the onslaught of creatures. Dark Alliance takes place before the events of Icewind Dale: Rime of the Frost Maiden. While veterans will recognise some of the settings and characters, there's a new adventure ahead in this prequel of sorts. While not directly tied to the tabletop, there will be some overlaps. Choose one of the 4 heroes straight from the best-selling fantasy author R.A. Salvador, which includes Dritz Duerden, Cassie Bree, Wolfgar, and Bruna Battlehammer. Each character has their own unique fighting style and comes with customizable abilities. Take on missions and slay bosses to unlock a myriad of new skills, earning gear and proceeding on to bigger challenges. There are 21 missions which take anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes in group co-op, or take on campaign solo, which can take maybe 40 minutes or more to complete. There's plenty of replayability as you can take on further and more difficult challenges that lie ahead. Gameplay offers all the button mashing you could want, but also offers an experience that lets players master both the strengths and weaknesses of each attack, ability and combo. You can apply guard breaks, team breaks, block, parry and pull-off executions. Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance will release on June 22nd on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and PC. That's a wrap for top RPGs of June. Did I miss your favourite June release? What games are you looking forward to most this year? Let us know in the comments below.